Almost done.
Is that your new podcasting sweater, John?
No, it should be.
How many times do you wash it?
Every time.
Ooh.
You wash your sweater on every wear? You lie flat to dry after every wear?
Absolutely. I dry clean them. Clean them after every wear.
All right, if you dry clean, because I don't see a single fluffy ball on there.
I mean, this is a disease I have, so I cast no
dry
judgment.
Clean after every single wearing of a sweater.
If it's a dry clean, yeah, I don't rewear sweaters or sweatshirts or anything.
Sweaters don't even touch my skin. Maybe
yeah,
forearms.
but man, you smell like shit, Keith.
I smell great. I always smell great.
I don't think it's normal to wash a sweater after every wear.
Expensive cologne.
You're correct.
I smell like
you all ready?
$400 bottle cologne.
Here we go.
Imitation. Keep it in your glove box cologne.
All right.
Upgraded.
All right, and welcome to Fast Break Breakfast NBA podcast. My name is Keith, here once again with my buddies through the miracle of computer phone. I'm here with Chuck Anderson.
Hey now.
Ooh, I like that.
That sounded like Keith.
And with John Burr. It was kind of nasally and...
Hey now.
I could be
Hey
so
now. There's my Keith. Hey now.
My wife asked me, when you podcast, she said, Keith, when you podcast, are you able to deliver the same energy with a softer voice? Have you tried that? And I don't know if I can. I don't know. I feel it's important to keep the energy up for the listeners, but like, it's gonna say, Chuck, how's it going? Like, is that enough energy there? I'm really excited to watch the Jazz lose again without Gobert and Donovan Mitchell.
I don't think you mess with perfection. You've refined this.
Okay.
It took us a long time to get to the rhythm and timbre. Is it the timbre we're talking about?
Yes, the timbre we're talking about that. Well, we're also talking about the specific volume of my voice.
Not timbre, but volume.
Yeah, volume. It's the volume because I be doing these late night Grizzlies podcasts. Every now and then I'm on a media entity that was purchased by the New York Times talking about basketball. And when I do, sometimes I get in the rhythm. I start yelling. I start sports yelling. And it's frequently at like 11 p.m.
I mean, Stephen A. Smith and Skip aren't making them dollar bills because they're AMSR types.
ASMR.
ASMR.
Like,
is that right?
That's not why they're getting those dollar bills. They're doing it because they've got the volume. It's
the sports yelling.
Yeah. Yes. Well, I often wonder about that. Like, should I like go to some sort of broadcasting school to sound like I'm actually a professional broadcaster? Because I feel like I'm just out here winging it, and I sound like Keith has got his radio voice down. Like I've noticed it over the years. He's just like kind of tweaked it, and he just sounds like a radio guy. And I just sound like a dude.
I don't know if I have a radio voice. I think a lot about like how I should be smoking. How I totally messed up my life by not smoking cigarettes and cigars to improve the timbre of my vocal cords, to add some depth, get that radio low resonance. My voice is not pleasant. It's horrifying.
But I think you do well. You've got the everyman voice, Keith. You sound like the.
I don't want that. I want a bass.
Podcasting.
I want a basso profundo. I want a bass voice. I want a glorious radio voice that bellows. I want a Ryan Russillo. I just want a Ryan Russillo.
You want a Mike Francesca?
I don't need that,
dude. That would be amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
I love a good Francesca. I can't do like if you had a Russillo voice, I'd turn you off. Like I'd just be like, nope, just another guy. With your voice you've got going now, I'm like, this guy really loves basketball. So much
also, Chuck, going back to your question of like, should I go to broadcasting school? Yes, you should. Two, the idea that what we do, sometimes I'm like, I think we do great work. I think, and like, there's podcasts I listen to where I'm like, I love this podcast. This is my favorite, comedy podcast, my favorite basketball podcast. And then I hear radio professionals do what they do.
Oh,
Right.
man.
I hear like a Max Kellerman come on a podcast, and I'm like, oh, what he does is different.
Max Kellerman, I don't think has a degree in this stuff. I think he started working in radio stations, et cetera, at an early age and learned to craft. I think this is more of like a trade or a craft. I honestly think like Keith doing this like X hours a week versus someone else is way more that like I have multiple degrees. I don't think they've helped me do any of the things I've done.
Oh no.
I think you just got to put your feet to the floor on this.
You're saying what we needed? We needed our daddies to show us how to podcast.
Maybe. I mean,
so maybe my children will have a chance to be any good at it.
I mean, Max Kellerman, like I think he even tried to box, etc. I think he had a brother in boxing. Like, you know, I think broadcasting school, maybe not, but just getting in early. So like the guys with the voices we're talking about, they're gone. Like, unless you count like Ian Eagles Kid, which like I'm scared to talk about Ian Eagles Kid. It's so bizarre to me. But like, you know, I think you got to be like a lot of these guys.
I just want a voice. I just want a vocal cord that naturally resonates at like kind of like a low A.
Sure.
I mean, I could
like it's here.
I
it's
could
like
probably,
I can't. Right. Like mine's at a very annoying like B flat. I'm like a middle C almost. Just like
I guess you were right from Jump Street with you need cigarettes and
I really
sound. I'm gonna sound like Don Imus for the rest of the show.
That's fine.
Dude, Don Imus. Don Imus. The past.
Yeah,
your beard's looking kind of nappy.
Well, it's also like if I record in the morning, my voice is way different than the afternoon because I have flimsy vocal cords that I like. I like that morning voice more. And again, I'm like, I guess I never smoked and I should have. It was a mistake.
And sometimes
you'd have been a great smoker.
I feel it.
You would have.
Like
sometimes I'll podcast on an empty stomach and too much coffee, and I can hear my voice is just like.
Well, sometimes I try to do so. Sometimes I record a podcast and I make horrible mistakes. I say things that are absolutely incorrect, and I correct them. I edit them maybe the next day, and I try to put my voice in, and I can't match my voice. Like my 10 p.m. voice is nothing like my 9 a.m. voice, and there's nothing I can do to change that.
So when you go in, let's do some exercises here. When you go in to do. We'll call it an overdub. Like we do in the biz.
Sure.
Imagine right before you record that either Chuck or I have given you the flimsiest of see-through excuses of why we have to record at an insane time or are horribly late.
Yeah.
I feel like if you can do that or pretend that Chuck or I have just spouted something so incontrovertibly wrong that it's going to take you like you're just gonna have to wipe the segment.
Like how do I
that has happened? I feel like that'll get you into the register you're looking for.
Like Chuck just mentioned the Sonics, and they haven't played.
Was watching the Heat play the Sonics last week.
Oh man, I guess everyone wishes their voice was better. I assume there's some beautifully mellifluous. Amazing voiced guy out there who's like, you know, I wish I had just a gross nasally allergy afflicted every day. I don't know.
I'm pleased with my voice. I'm less pleased with my body and other particulars. My voice is fine.
John, you do have a nice voice.
Thanks,
breakfast. Pal. Oh, and by the way, when you said that none of your degrees were helping you, and I agreed, I wasn't agreeing that your degrees hadn't helped you. I was also trying to back that by saying my degrees, my music composition degree did me no favors. Getting a degree in music was useless. No one told me I had to actually learn something.
Keith is so ashamed of that degree that he muttered it. My music degree.
Music. I think I got a BS composition.
It is.
I don't know why it was a BS. But anyway,
I have an idea why it's a BS.
Exactly. What were our breakfasts, gentlemen? Having a good breakfast? Chuck, you had a hard working day. Did you have a healthy, hearty breakfast to power you through that?
So I have an associate's degree in electrical engineering, which it was hilarious that they put the word engineering in an associate's degree.
You got an AD, you got a street clothes.
So, but my day today was dealing with like circuit boards and, wiring.
You could use a soldering iron.
I had to solder today.
Yeah.
But before I went in, I had a cup of coffee and 2 terrible protein bars.
What kind?
Just
Zone?
bad. No, these were actually, so it's Robert Irving or Irvine.
The
Robert
big man.
Irvine from Restaurant
Yeah.
Impossible?
Married to former WWE TNA knockout Gail Kim. That's a lot it's a lot of human growth hormone.
So he apparently makes protein bars. They weren't that bad, actually. I've had way worse. They one was peanut butter and jelly, and the other one was milk and cookies.
This will not surprise you at all. Never had a protein bar.
None of that sounds good to me. I don't want.
So I've been working out. So all I do is look at protein bars and see what is the most protein.
Yeah.
And this one had 30 grams of protein. So in 2 protein bars, I had 60 grams of protein.
Well, how much?
Which is almost what I need for a whole day.
How much protein can you even keep? I feel like this is one of those things where your body can only use like 20 grams or something.
So I'm currently in a
plumber will tell you.
I'm in a bulking stage. If my I'm
Can
trying
you-
to put on some muscle.
Let's see some traps. Can you do some trap stuff?
Trying to do that.
Oh,
I see it.
Wow,
That's
that just popped out of the Zoom.
Those are gains.
Man,
I believe
I highly
in the
recommend
business.
other people trying to join the Zoom with us because that was
All
something.
those gains. I think I could get some kind of neck fat going.
Oh wow, John's now rolling his sweater of
John.
Go to the YouTube, guys. That's all I can say. I'll try to put this on YouTube.
Who's got more massive? Who's got bigger gains, me or Chuck right now?
John, what was your breakfast?
Sheer Southern fried hatred. Had some Chick-fil-A.
Oh yeah.
And must report, I've kind of I've vacillated between whether I like spicy or non-spicy Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
Right now I'm firmly in a spicy phase.
That's where I tailed off. The last I went there, I was in a long spicy chicken streak from
I think
Chick-fil-A.
I think it's correct to just get original recipe, but I guess I want a little, burning in my Mississippi, as it were. I'm in a spicy phase right now, but it was pretty good.
It is delicious.
Do you guys mayonnaise your Chick-fil-A?
I don't. No, I don't.
I do.
No.
I believe in mayonnaising every chicken sandwich you get.
Really?
Right.
Yeah, it's just from childhood.
I recently surreptitiously put mayonnaise on a friend who hates mayonnaise sandwich, and I've changed his life. Probably the only time I've changed anyone's life.
Mayonnaise is that condiment you can sneak on people. If you just kind of a little thin glaze on a bun, they'll never notice.
It's like food lube. It just makes it go down perfectly. So
I had a next level mayonnaise yesterday. Local restaurant Folk here in East Nashville.
I'm proud of the way you chose to pronounce that on this family friendly show.
Yes. They had a shishito mayonnaise, and boy, it was sexy.
Thank you. Wow. My breakfast was a gluten-free blueberry muffin that the wife made. It was quite good. I had 2 of them. They were very, very good. Anyway, those were our breakfasts. After our breakfasts, we moved to our breakfast in bed apologies. This is our chance to make right what we might have gotten wrong on a previous episode. It's frequently the first time we talk about the NBA. Does anyone have anything that they would like to apologize for? Chuck, why don't you go first? What do you need to make right? Yeah.
So last week we had Dave DeFore on. Lovely man. My doppelganger / Bizarro. I'm his Bizarro version. But
you used to be evil Dave Duffer, but now I think he mentioned having a few cold ones. He made you feel bad about your level of exercise. I think now he's Mirror Universe Chuck Anderson. He's the evil.
It's very
version
possible.
of you.
It's very possible. But because Dave's he's a broadcaster. He comes and he brings information. He has a perspective. He does it the right way. And I was afraid
he does the whole conflictless yes-anding. If he wants to take it to the next level, he needs to find his Skip Bayless to scream in the face of.
I agree. But the whole episode, I'm like, this is my first podcast with Dave DeFore. I need to make sure I don't mess up. And it took me until the end where I finally found my way to making a terrible mistake when I said that Jimmy Butler's iShop winning performance had to do with Matisse Thybulle. Not true. Matisse got injured.
He's hurt.
Dennis Schroeder ruined his day. And, Yeah,
conceivable.
Don't worry, I do have a ready-made excuse. He was on the second half of back-to-back. That's why.
There we go.
I shot
There we
performance.
go. Yeah.
I mixed up my Jimmy Butler excuse machine. Forgive me.
That's good. I'm sorry. I didn't catch that mistake in editing. You mentioning Matisse Thybulle, who wasn't available.
No, Keith, you immediately fixed my mistake. You went, oh, and I hope Matisse Thybulle comes back soon.
Oh, well. Yeah. All right.
So I fall into these NBA YouTube holes.
Yeah.
And there's a guy on there called Thinking Basketball, probably one of the better YouTubers.
Oh, he's great.
And he had a recent, he's great, but I'm about to put him on blast because he had a recent YouTube video. And it was entitled like Matisse Thybulle, the most unique NBA defender of all time. And I'm like, Dennis Rodman? I think you might want to rethink your entire concept here, man. Because by any definition of the word, the Worms got this one, I think.
I mean, he does a great, but that's Ben Taylor, obviously. Friend of the show.
We friend of the show.
Really cool YouTube videos.
Yeah, his YouTube videos are awesome. I haven't watched the actual the Matisse Thybulle one, but I've been meaning to. I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun. I'll do my apology. I got upset at the referees in the last week. I couldn't understand how they missed a call in a Grizzlies game. I know calls are certainly missed all the time in NBA basketball games because it's impossible to officiate. But this play went to review. And I was stunned. The Grizzlies got called for basket interference on a layup, missed layup. The ball's coming off the rim. Brandon Clark bats the underside of the ball. Brandon Clark's hand never goes over the rim. The ball was off the rim. It's clearly not basket interference in my mind. I look at the replay, 10 times, like, what's really obvious? That's not goaltending. That's not basket interference. But they called it. It was challenged. The call on the floor stood. I was blown away. Couldn't understand. I've always maintained if they go to replay review, they're not going to miss the call because they know the rules better than anyone else watching. So if the replay review says this is the right call, by rule, you might get mad at the rule, but by rule, it's going to be right. And I thought for the first time ever, or at least the first time I can remember, they got it wrong. That's not even close. But it turns out the officials were right. I shouldn't be surprised. I try to tell everyone all the time. The officials were right. The rule as written for basket interference is that we know about the imaginary cylinder that goes over the rim for forever. And then it goes through the universe and it comes back to the other side of the universe and back up under the side of the rim. But
all right, you bootlicker. I'm going to give you a chance to make up for this. There is a call in the same game that has to be wrong, right? Where I think it's Melton. The shot hit the rim and they called.
Oh no, they missed that call. If they would have reviewed, there was a shot clock violation called on the Grizzlies after this, where Melton hits the rim and then the ball gets knocked out of bounds. And
I just want people to know that Keith is not completely under the sway of Monty McCutcheon.
If they reviewed that, they would have seen they missed the call. Referees in the instant miss calls all the time. Also in that game, there was a hilarious moment where Steven Adams jumps on the ground in the paint with the rebound. He has the ball. He points at each referee individually. He goes, timeout. Then looks at another one, timeout.
Yeah.
He looks at another one, timeout. It goes fast. He goes, timeout, timeout, timeout. And he points at all three referees. Not one referee grants his timeout. They wait for a Nuggets player to tie him up. It was a weird end of the game.
That
all that
is a
fueled.
Thick Kiwi accent right there.
What do you think fueled.
What do you think they thought he said, Chuck?
Oh yeah.
Tie me up.
Yeah.
That's not a knife. I don't know.
Come on.
Wow.
I want to work it out. So I don't know if we'd have to pay for this because it's probably there's licensing. But every time Keith talks about referees, we should get the KRS One sound of the police playing.
If you make it brief and you're talking through it, you don't have to pay anything, man. Let's do it.
There you go.
And if you were playing Fast Break Breakfast Bingo, Chuck making a hip hop reference.
Yeah, but I
square.
Did you guys, John, you saw this. We were texting about it. I was confused. Yeah. We're used to if the ball's coming off the rim and it has no chance of going in, and particularly if someone isn't like grabbing it above the rim, if you're just hitting the underside of it when it's coming off, I feel like we're used to those not being called. And even I feel like on replay review, I must have misremembered this. This is a Mandela effect. I feel like those have not been goaltending or basket interference. I was stunned. And then I did what everyone does, and I'm not
Mandela
going to
effect
change the
is
rule.
one of those things I hear all the time. I have no idea what it means, so I'm just going to say yes. That was.
I thought it was Mandela effect.
I think the Mandela effect is thinking that the Mandala effect is the Mandela effect.
I don't get Chuck's joke,
but I don't know.
Well, it's confusing 2 words. So thinking one is the
I
other.
still don't get your joke. Okay.
I mean,
once more, Keith is guilty of humor goaltending. That was definitely outside the. That was definitely inside the cylinder.
I let it rest. I thought I let it rest, and then I thought I would.
You let it hang.
You let it. I don't know. I don't get it.
Look, we get into what a joke is on this show, and we don't always agree.
Yeah. Actually, on the best episodes of the show, we don't. And I'd like to apologize because I was not present for what I thought was one of the best episodes of Fast Break Breakfast ever last week. Everyone should go listen to that episode. Definitely one of Chuck's best shows. I think Dave Duffer now has stolen the best guest host title from Giuseppe Divine, which is it's a bittersweet moment in Fast Break Breakfast history, but really good episode. And I was not ready for the sheer. I'm apologizing that I was not there to be in abject horror and disbelief at the sheer number of miles that I think Dave Duffer walks more miles than an NBA player runs over the course of the season. Like, how did you guys just take it like that? I haven't watched the YouTube video, but did both of you like mouths drop open when he said, how many miles did he say he walks?
10,
3,000,
the 3,000 last year.
8 to 10 a day.
Yeah.
What?
8 to 10 miles a day?
Yeah.
I mean, is he like Jimmy Butler getting up at 4 a.m. and just
he said he walked a few miles. He said he walked for a couple hours every day. So
is he just a pathological liar? What is going on?
Well, I mean, to check that out, like to do 8 miles in 2 hours, you're talking.
It's a brisk pace.
Like that's
15-minute mile.
15-minute mile. That's damn near a run. That's a jog.
I can't run a mile in 15 minutes. Yeah. What is going on?
We love you, Dave.
Just casual. It's like just casually dropping. Like, I made my first $1 million last year. What? What did you do? Amazing.
I squat 900 pounds.
Yeah, it was some real Dirk Diggler in the gym, John C. Riley type stuff going on.
Although, if you were going to pick something to over exaggerate, I'm not choosing walking.
There's no way he's lying because first of all, he clearly came on the show just to like be like, "Hey Chuck, check this out."
Yeah, no. He claimed he didn't, but he did. Those were our breakfasts. After our breakfasts, before we get to our steak and eggs best thing, we have a couple of words from our sponsor, the Memphis Grizzlies. Grizzlies Nation, view your next gen Grizz in style with an exclusive suite night at the FedEx Forum. 8-person suites start at $115 per ticket. You can enjoy one of these private single game suites plus parking with friends, family, colleagues, or clients. A limited number of the suite nights are available. So visit grizzlies.com/suites today before they are gone. All right. Steak and eggs. Best thing. What's the best thing you saw in the last week? John, what's your steak and eggs?
This will be confusing as usual because this sounds like a worse thing. But I am regaled for the rest of the world to understand my hatred of Grayson Allen at last. I feel like we have understanding across the league because he's done it to a member of a prominent team and maybe the most prominent member, at least in the hipster circles of all. Grayson Allen violently fouled Alex Caruso and broke his arm, but Alex Caruso's legend will only grow because he played lockdown defense with a broken arm for the rest of the game. And now everyone knows that Grayson, we didn't make it up. Grayson Allen is a miserable guy to have on your team and that you have to defend at all times. So it's great for as a Grizz fan who had to have a year of Grayson Allen playing over Desmond Bane for everyone to finally know our pain. I mean, it's just for me. I think, with the exception of Caruso's going to miss time, that hurts the Bulls. As far as injuries go, we know he'll be back better than ever. This is just it's a beautiful thing for me to finally have the rest of the world know what we've been dealing with as Grizz fans or collegiate fans in general.
The Grayson Allen saga, took quite the turn in the last week. And like, he has all those. You mentioned the collegiate stuff,
right? So
he has this history of like these kind of ugly, flagrant fouls and dirty plays. There's been very little of that in the NBA.
He did it like summer league. He did it like in summer league, and then was like, I better not do this.
Yeah, and so like, but then people are bringing into this case what he's done in college, and he did collide with Ja Morant in the game before, injuring Alex Caruso.
Hit him in the head.
Yeah, in a play that was not exceptionally coordinated. It was like, why in the world did you hit Ja Morant in the head so hard? Like, what were you trying to do? And that play felt like
trying to break his arm,
sort of dirty, because I have said this before on the show. I typically lean, when I'm watching replays of professional athletes and guys who are way more skilled and athletic than I will ever be, I generally assume they know what their bodies are doing. My benefit of the doubt is like, oh, that professional soccer player, he knew where his foot was going to land. That's basically how. I don't believe in accidental cleatings that much. I don't believe in a lot of these accidental like plays that look dirty. I'm like, you kind of knew what you were doing. That's generally how I view.
I feel like the instant replay makes everything look like murder.
Instant replay makes it so much tougher.
Yeah.
So like the Caruso play didn't look. Again, to me, it looked bad, but not that dirty. But also, airborne player, a guy gets hurt. That just happens.
I mean, I feel like we saw Kelly Oubre do the same thing on this,
and no one's talking about it.
Well, he got ejected.
Yeah, and I think
but nobody got hurt.
I think that's a good enough punishment. But I'm fine for Grayson Allen to get scorched by his rep alone. Like, that's the whole point.
But I think it's just like we don't like Grayson Allen. Like his early like Duke stuff was kind of distasteful, and people brought that into the league. Probably the worst foul I've seen this year, and I'm obviously biased, was Jokic running into the Morris brother. That was the worst thing I said.
And that guy's still not back.
And no one's out here giving Jokic, who has a history of being just as petulant as Grayson Allen, any amount of the same guff that Allen did.
I think petulant, like Jokic, is probably has a worse rep as far as complaining to officials, etc. I think
nobody
Grayson
says
Allen,
anything about it.
Well, I think Grayson Allen.
I still can't compare the two. I mean, Jokic hurt Marquise Morris badly, but he was fighting back from a dirty play by Marquise Morris.
Right.
The fouling and airborne guy, they're dangerous. You had Scotty Barnes got pushed in the back, I believe, in a Heat game on a dunk where he like crashed into a lady holding a beer. There have been several. Dennis Schroeder pushed somebody in the back who was airborne. That's how Tybalt went down. Like that was, for me, that was an even dirtier play than what Grayson Allen did. But all of this injury thing got 100% weirder
by the Bucks.
Who on social media the day after that it's Alex Caruso was out for 6 to 8 weeks, they just woke up that morning and they were like, let's post a video of Grayson Allen smiling
and eating a donut.
Why would you do that?
Well,
why would anyone do? Are they
referencing
throwing Grayson Allen under the bus?
Were they referencing Grayson Allen's knowing smirk when they threw Grayson Allen out? He smiled.
Yeah. I mean,
I ended up reading about that, which came through somehow the Bulls social media people, that was just a scheduled post that happened to come out that day, and they didn't realize it until the blowback.
I don't believe it. Because then when it comes out that Grayson Allen's getting suspended for one game, the Bucks, instead of just like, hey, let's just let this go away. This is just bad news. We already screwed up with this allegedly scheduled post. Please.
And it's one game, and Grayson Allen just missed the game being injured.
Who cares?
He probably was going to miss the game anyways.
But then after it's announced they put out a statement. We're like, we disagree with this suspension and we stand by Grayson. Just don't say anything.
Yeah,
you don't have to publicly support your guy. It just seems like this massive just PR blow. All Bucks fans are ashamed now.
Are the Bucks finally the bad guys?
Are they trying to become the bad guy? Are they taking a page out of Devin Booker's playbook and they're saying, I want to be the villain? How can we be the villain? What if we injure someone and then the next day we taunt them on social media that we injured them?
I think, honestly, though, that game was pretty intense. It was a close game in the third. That foul was a hard foul. It was a flagrant foul.
Yeah.
But I don't think anybody wasn't trying to hurt him. And the foul didn't cause Alex Cruz to break his hand. The fall happened to land as such.
That's gun violence rhetoric, Chuck.
Does Grayson Allen play for the Heat now? What's going on?
It wasn't the gun, it was the bullet, Your Honor.
Guns don't kill people.
Grayson Allen does a thing where he fouls people, and this happens a lot, where just because you feel remorse, just because you feel remorse in the instant you did it, does not release you from your wrongdoing and your punishment. You see this a lot in the NBA, where someone goes up all out, like the Kelly Oubre foul. Someone goes up for a dunk,
Oubre went up to
and
him.
then you hit him so hard, and then you're like, whoa, and you reach your arms out, and then they crash to the ground, and then you want to tap on the back and be like, I'm sorry, man. No, I'm sorry, man. That shows you're not a sociopath, but it does not absolve you from whatever punishment and the fact that you did something dirty, that you made a dirty play.
Also, it could be complete BS. Like, I used to be a hellacious hard fouler when I played pickup basketball, and when I knew I'd hurt somebody, I would always go up and pretend to be very that was an accident.
But you are a sociopath. We know that. You know this. You have I would feel bad. Like, you know what? I know what another person would do in this situation. I'm going to act like that so people let me come. I'm
going through my mental Rolodex. Looking under emotion. but that was what I would do. I'd be like, gosh, man, I didn't mean to get you that hard, which I didn't. But I don't know. Usually, so Grayson Allen and Kelly Oubre, they're kind of the same play. Although I will say, Grayson Allen definitely gets his whole body into it.
I haven't watched the Oubre enough to compare the two.
It's pretty similar.
Yeah,
pretty similar.
Also,
I don't care about the punishments at all.
Drawing charges look dirtier to me than both of these plays.
We're gonna go here again, aren't you?
Very, very frequently.
That's a shtick.
Hey, the Grizzlies drew a charge and lost. I think there's a correlation.
There you go.
I think they might have lost every game.
Man, but hey, I will say this: Grizzlies. I mean, I think you alluded to it last week. Grizzlies don't draw charges.
Yeah, I didn't allude to it. I talked about it openly.
It's not part of the game plan.
John Conchar is the first Grizzlies player to hit multiple charges on the year. He's drawn 2. Cut it out.
Cultural difference. It's a cultural difference, Keith.
It probably is. Chuck, what's your best thing?
My best thing, the number one team in the Eastern Conference.
The
one and only Miami Heat, baby. After defeating the Los Angeles Lakers at home, returned LeBron James.
I did
can do that.
You beat the Lakers. Thank you for that.
We beat the Lakers. Jimmy Butler surpassed LeBron James for most triple doubles in Miami Heat history against LeBron James. It was this beautiful, lovely, symmetrical. Everything feels good in Miami. How great would the Heat be if you just swapped LeBron James and Jimmy Butler? Like if LeBron they were rebuilt around LeBron, and that what would LeBron give to be playing with Jimmy Butler's team today?
You mean, it sounds like you're disparaging your team's best player right now.
No, what I'm saying is, LeBron,
did I hear that wrong, John? Is that what you heard?
He's looking at
I'm picking up what he's putting down.
Okay.
Right. LeBron left Miami. Yeah, he went and got his, whatever.
Cleveland. You can say the same thing about the team in Cleveland.
Right. He could.
Man.
Imagine if he was
LeBron
playing
in Cleveland would be amazing.
GM LeBron is as bad as player LeBron.
But he got a title. He got a title. It's all kind of worth it, right?
Title.
Oh, he got a bubble title.
Title.
Yeah, quotation marks title.
But yeah, it was a great game. I can't wait to see the Heat. No, they still haven't played a fully healthy team. I think it's strategic now. Kyle Lowry's out with personal reasons. I think the personal reason is Eric Spoelstra doesn't want to give the league tape on the Heat.
I like that. I like gamesmanship.
It's gamesmanship. Tyler Hero's health and safety, but I don't know. What's
well, they have
on?
a better winning percentage when Tyler Hero does not play.
Oh, of course you know that stat, Keith.
This isn't an official Hero. There goes my hero.
It might as well be. He didn't play a game last week in health and safety. So I'm bored with the bet. I lost the bet. Fine.
Keith has dropped Tyler Hero in iShop.
I had to. He was in health and safety.
Solidarity. I picked him up today, baby.
We don't in our negative fantasy league. We don't have IR spots, and I'm already carrying Dylan Brooks, and I couldn't also carry Tyler Hero because he's a roller coaster.
Tyler Hero trash is another man's Tyler Hero treasure. Listen, he will have been on 66.6 repeating percentage points of our podcast iShop team.
Chuck, I'm happy for your Miami Heat with the 1 seed, but I mean that 638 winning percentage. Talk to me when they have a 650 winning percentage like my Memphis Grizzlies, who have a better record than your Heat. How can I take you seriously? We're rebuilding, Chuck.
The West. I think the East is better than the West this year.
The
top to bottom.
The East is deeper. The East has 12 all right teams. I don't know what you're supposed to say about the West right now.
The West top 3 is
the Trailblazers are tanking in their 10th.
They're beating
they messed
the
up.
Celtics.
Here's my best thing. One of the teams that's not in the top 10 in the Eastern Conference. We were talking about this team last week. They were actually playing a basketball game while we recorded the episode last Monday. Talking about the Atlanta Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks, I said they wanted to excise Cam Reddish to get rid of the bad vibes. This guy takes bad shots. He's a bad defender. We need to get him out of the rotation. And they traded him to the Knicks, and they thought, all right, getting rid of Cam Reddish is going to help us. Unfortunately,
he was right there.
The first game after the trade, the Knicks came to Atlanta, and so Cam Reddish was still in the building, and the Hawks get destroyed. And so then the game after that was the game in which we were recording a podcast episode last week, and they were losing to the Bucks. And I'm like, well, I guess the Cam Reddish trade didn't work out because they're still losing even without him. They came back and won that game, and they haven't lost since. They've won 4 consecutive games. Trae Young won Eastern Conference Player of the Week. DeAndre Hunter is back, no longer looking over his shoulder to see if Cam Reddish is going to take some of his minutes. DeAndre Hunter averaged 19 points per game in the last week, and the wins against quality teams like that Bucks win is solid. They won at Charlotte. Charlotte's been playing well. They beat
my Heat.
The Miami Heat. This Hawks team is pretty good. They also beat the Timberwolves. Timberwolves are playing pretty well for a Western Conference team. The Hawks, maybe they're rounded into form finally. We expected a lot from this team. They got off to a horrible start, even worse than their start last season. So maybe this 4-game win streak is the start of something good and not a random blip, which I've just horribly cursed by bringing our gaze upon it. All right, those were our steak and eggs best things. The opposite of that is our cream of wheat worst thing. What's the worst thing you saw? Chuck, what's your cream of wheat?
So Daryl Morey was on sports radio this week in Philadelphia.
I hate it. That's our spot, man. Get out of our space, Daryl Morey. You already have
I know.
Awesome
what are you
job.
Doing? What are you
that
doing?
Not your thing?
No, that wasn't it.
I'm sorry.
Here is my thing. He was talking about trade rumors and how you just need to be careful in how you source your trade rumors, and basically said that I'll quote him here. We had a trade debate. It may even be this one that was tweeted out by Ball Sack Sports. And I'm very sad that we didn't name Fast Break Breakfast Ball Sack Sports, because I feel like we missed out, boys. Like, where were we? Where was that? We didn't even talk about it in our, initial meeting, trying to come up with a name for this thing. That's my worst.
That would have been a great pitch meeting. If we could go back in time and John's like, hey, meet my friend Chuck. And Chuck's like, I want to name a podcast Ball Sack Sports. Keith, are you in? And then like, yeah, where'd Keith go?
What was LeVar Ball thinking with the big ball brand when Ball Sack Sports was right there for his?
I feel sad that I thought you were going to say you're sad that we didn't pitch a better fake trade that Daryl Morey could give us a shout out on the radio.
That's what we should do. Yeah. What was the fake trade? It was the Sixers would get Draymond, Wiggins, Poole, Kuminga, and two future.
Well, also
firsts.
this same basically parody, I believe, sports account made up some quotes that John Morant said, and John Morant, it was something like, I can't remember who it was. If it was talking about like Andre Iguodala. Like Andre Iguodala is just an old player now. He needs to get out of the league. This is young. The league's run by me. Something like that. And Morant quote tweeted it saying like, I never said this. This is, this is cap. And not knowing, yes, this account just makes up stuff to get the publicity and such. They're operating on a different level, a superior, much more successful level than we are with their trolling and literal fake news.
I'm pretty sure
big ball sack brand.
They were the ones who tweeted out that the Pelicans scored 177 points once.
These are the people that got you. No,
they got me.
John, what's your worst thing?
So I'm a little bit chuffed that I don't know if you guys saw Steph
a little
Curry.
Bit chuffed.
I'm chuffed. Let's just say that I'm chuffed.
Is that like?
Stand by. Googling chuffed.
Yeah. Is that like engorged? I don't just keep going.
Tumescent.
A little chuffed. You're a little chuffed. I don't know this, but
fast break breakfast bingo. Chuck just dropped tumescent.
Yeah.
Take a drink.
That's 2 weeks in a row.
I don't know if you know, like he hit his first buzzer beater of his career.
Insane.
Like that's the only one he's ever had. It's the only one he's made as time expires. He has plenty of big shots, but I was kind of blown away by that and fell into like a.
Are we not counting the famous buzzer beater against the Thunder back in the day? Was there time on the clock with that one?
Yes.
Yeah, it was his first walk-off. That was
okay.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
But so like that's overshadowed like what has been like I think the worst shooting stretch of Steph's career. A stretch so bad that it's taken him out of the top 10 3-point percentage field goal leaders career-wise. Or not out of the 10, but it's dropped him all the way to 10th, which for me, when I think of Steph Curry, I like that really blows my mind. And then furthermore, it has just increased the whiteness of said list. So that makes me think of a little gay.
Oh, Dinklage, Peter Dinklage, Peter Dinklage.
Game of scones. I call this one needle and some hay seeds. Guys, I want you to name the top 10 all-time 3-point percentage field goal leaders. Here's the wrinkle. And we're not going to count to Steph Curry, who is the 10th. So you have to get 9 of them. If you name a black player or a non-white player, it's worth 5 points, whereas a white player is worth 1 point. Whoever gets the most points wins. I'll stop the game when we either have named them all or it gets boring.
Wow.
Keith, because I feel bad for you for being so self-conscious about the timbre of your voice earlier, I'm going to let you go first.
All right, all-time
percentage. Remember, if you can name a black person, a black shooter.
If I get a non-white is worth
non-white
extreme amount of points.
More points, right?
Reggie Miller. Is he percentage-wise up there?
I'm afraid not, Keith.
Wesley Person.
Love Wesley Person.
Afraid not. That's all. That's a War Eagle right there, Keith.
I'm gonna go ahead and bank a point.
Now, okay, get into the game theory.
So I'm gonna go. I was
hoping you guys were just gonna name black players.
No, I'm gonna say I'm Steve Kerr.
That's correct. Number
all right,
1.
I had to bank a point. All right.
I thought this bit would last for a while. I was thinking you guys would just miss forever. Chuck, go for it. I bet Chuck keeps swinging.
What about Seth Curry?
Oh, that's a good guess.
5 points for Chuck.
No!
Third. That is the equivalent of all, Chuck has plenty of black friends right there. 5 points. That may be insurmountable, Keith, unless you can get back in this. If you keep going with the hayseed,
I'm going to just keep naming white guys. Is friend of the program Brent Barry on there?
Oh, no, sir.
No?
No, sir. Chuck. Can you put this to bed by naming? I'm going to go ahead and tell you, there's only one other black guy on this list. Can you put it to bed? Trying to get you back in this, Keith.
I don't know. JJ Redick.
Ooh, you would think so, but JJ Redick is one of the most overrated players ever and is not on this list.
Oh man. I mean,
it's who you think it is. This list is the player who you think it is. It's the
is Ray Allen?
I'm afraid not, Keith.
Yeah.
Gotta name white guys to win, I guess. Well, I don't know. Chuck's winning right now 5-1, having only named one correct answer.
That's correct.
I'll give you a hint. Chuck. Extremely white.
Kyle Korver.
Oh, yes.
No, good job, Chuck. Oh, now I have no chance. Let's think.
Do you need a hint?
Yeah, I definitely need a hint.
One of them is currently playing in the Eastern Conference. Does that help at all?
Wow.
Current player, Eastern Conference. Only current player on the list.
No, that doesn't help me. Peja Stojakovic.
Oh, that is not correct.
Oh.
But I'll say for Chuck a hint. A player, a countryman of his is on the list.
Duncan Robinson.
No, sir. This season alone, I think, did him in for that. Back to you, Keith. A countryman of Peja Stojakovic.
Drazen Petrovic?
Yes, sir. Wow. 5th on the list. Keith's back in it. Within.
Does he count? Wait, does he count as a non-white hayseed? What's the ruling for
wow.
Eastern European?
Or Eastern European here?
Eastern European's the whitest thing I could think of in my
life. All right, that's fair.
2 points for Keith. Chuck, back to you.
Man, Joe Harris.
That's the one.
Oh,
well done, Chuck. That's the one.
Wow.
He is.
I'm getting destroyed.
4th, 7-2. Keith,
4th?
You gotta get this guy. You gotta get the non-white. You can't go A seed anymore. I'm about to call it. This is your one shot.
Yeah, I don't. Stretching through all of NBA history.
His name is similar to, I'm now going to call him the second greatest Grizzlies coach of all time, because I think you and I are in Taylor Jennings. We're Taylor stands now. His name is similar to the second greatest Grizzlies coach of all time.
Similar to Dave Yeager?
No, second greatest. Yeager's 3rd or 4th on my list.
Is it Lionel Simmons?
No. Chuck, can you steal it? Can you steal it?
Is Hubie Brown your favorite? Hubie?
Of course.
Hubie.
Oh, I wouldn't even think about Hubie Brown. Okay. Is it, can I say it?
Yes.
Hubert Davis?
It's Hubert Davis. We have a tie.
Well, wait, I said it first.
I said Hubert Davis before you.
I think I heard.
Go to the tape first. Go to the tape.
You can go to the tape, but I said Davis before you said Davis.
Buzzer beater.
But it was my goal.
No, Chuck won the game.
Okay.
He mopped the floor with me.
The guys you missed, not technically. The guys you missed were Jason Capono, Tim Legler, and Steve Novak. 3 of the whitest dudes to ever lace them up.
Steve Novak, I feel like I should have gotten. I wouldn't have ever remembered Legler.
But there are your needle and some high seats, boys.
That's pretty good. Yes, Steph Curry is shooting. He's 29% from 3 in January. He also has this 2-game stretch now. I think it's his last 2 games. He's 11.
Klay Thompson
won his last 2 games.
Klay Thompson's shooting his way off the list too, down to 13th all time.
Well, Klay Thompson is now every.
You did say Wesley Person, who was 14th. So I love it.
Oh,
that's pretty good. Steph Curry now has 3 2-game spans this year, where in back-to-back games he's attempted at least 40 shots and made under 30% of them. The only other player to have multiple games like that, or multiple spans like that, is Damian Lillard, who had a couple of 2-game stretches where he
no one's noticed
terrible.
They keep winning, but the Dubs look rough without Draymond.
Well, they haven't.
Bet against them.
People are starting to notice, I think, a little bit. They're not good in the last however many.
Them
and the Jazz.
Clay, they should not be playing Clay right now. I mean, I guess he has to play into shape, but at the end of games, they can't put him in. They shouldn't put him in. He's losing games for him.
I'll do my worst thing. Speaking of Dame Lillard and the Trailblazers, I feel bad for the Trailblazers. They're a little bit lost, a little bit aimless. I mean, maybe they're happy they're winning games. Like Nurkic has been blowing up in the past week or so, 2 weeks. Nurkic has averaged like 20 and 16 over his last 5. Anthony Simons has been good. We talked about him last show. Has been a revelation, kind of carrying this team without Dame and CJ. Now CJ's back. They're winning a little bit, but like they don't have a permanent GM. So like, I don't even know if they get to choose the direction that the franchise goes in right now. Winning is fun, and maybe they can get healthy and make some noise in the playoffs. It doesn't seem like they're going to trade Damian Lillard, who's been not good this year anyway, and is still hurt. So I'm in a weird spot because of the strange rules that reward losing by being in the top of the draft. And I think Trailblazers fans are in a tough spot right now. You don't you can be happy with the wins, but also it feels like you don't have a direction. And I feel like they were finally learning that, okay, we can trade away Robert Covington for a couple picks, or we could trade away some guys. And now I don't think they're going to do anything. I think they're just going to probably hunker down and press hard and finish 10th.
Right.
And I don't know.
Well,
I don't know if that's good or bad.
It kind of helps the new regime in that Dame Lillard, said like he doesn't want to play for a tanking team, and now it's like kind of impossible to not be in the playoff hunt. So
exactly.
You can tank and still, you can tank and still keep Dame Lillard at this rate, trade him in the offseason. You can have your cake and eat it too. But I mean, at this rate, like we already talked about him, but Daryl Morey is going to get his wish and get to trade Ben Simmons in the offseason for Dame Lillard or something like that.
I don't even know what that means. I'm so confused by all this, the Ben Simmons stuff.
Seems like, hocus pocus, right?
Yeah. I also wonder in that Western Conference race for 10, like the Pelicans have been quietly mediocre-ish
right
for like a really long time. Like month and a half, 2 months of basically being almost 500. That's all it's going to take. They're just creeping. They're creeping. The Sacramento Kings are desperately trying to get like a Domantas Sabonis, and they want to be in the play-in so bad, and they're still behind the Trailblazers, who
can't do it.
Still behind the Pelicans, who are just totally lost. But yeah, it's kind of a bummer. Did everyone do their worst thing? Chuck, did you do your worst thing?
Yeah, my worst thing this week, guys, was ball sack sports. Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's I already blacked it out, and that's my mistake for not doing that. Let's move on. Before we get to the awards segment of the program, we have a couple of listener submitted questions. The croissant questioner.
Exit Flagger asks, which current NBA player would be most deserving of a late 80s, early 90s WWF Intercontinental title run? So, guys, I'm going to put a little parameters on here.
Yep.
When you think of your Intercontinental title holders, there's two archetypes. You have I don't know if Macho Man ever held it, but a great champion for sure. But you have your longest reigns that I can think of the classic era. Now they kind of screw it all up. But you have your evil, cowardly, honky tonk man types, right?
Your Grayson Allens, yes.
Yeah, Grayson Allen, Devin Booker, Chris Paul. But then you also have your altruistic, almost to a fault, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat types. The type of guy who, like, when Ric Flair would bring out 40 women for his entrance, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat would bring out his family on a mule. In the Bible. This happened.
Yeah.
He would breathe fire before matches. He's, very, very children oriented. So if we want to go with our like heroic Intercontinental champion, who also, we have to talk about it, Intercontinental champion, it's kind of like the bad place to be. It means you're never really like a world title guy. You're kind of just stuck in this like also ran place. So
like a Chris Paul.
Oh God. Well, Chris Paul, I think, cheats too much.
That was just a Chris Paul insult.
That's I like it. I mean, that's fine. Until they can ascend, I nominate John Morant would be a good IC title guy right now until we can get, because sometimes you can break through the glass ceiling, but I think John Morant makes for a good one. I think if you want to say they're never going to break through, I think, I think looking at a guy like James Harden is someone you could say.
I think James Harden could have done either one of those archetypes you laid out. I feel like I could also see him doing like a hardcore, I'm just a Bible
bending the rules type guy.
No, like this is my family. I'm just, maybe he can play up. I don't know. I'm just depending on costuming a little bit too much.
What are your thoughts here?
Is Jokic's MVP? Does that put him in world champion contention?
I don't think so.
No. So it would just be.
He also has a flat top.
Yeah.
It's like a Bob Backlund haircut.
I'm going Jokic. Like I love Jokic, but
not. You know that Morris hit has broken you forever. I can smell it on you.
I love watching him play. I kind of think he is a little bit of a jerk, but like I love watching him play. Yeah. But yeah, I think he's got it. Dame Lillard,
that's a good one. That's a Ricky the Dragon Steamboat type right there.
Yeah, DeMar DeRozan.
Oh, okay.
Is
DeMar's got a title though? Or no, he doesn't. He was gone. Yeah, that's right. He got traded away for the Raptors. It is DeMar.
Did they give him a ring? He could have given him a ring. What about like, maybe I'm not as familiar with the professional wrestling and these things you're laying out, but forefront of my mind as a Grizzlies man is Steven Adams carrying away Tony Bradley from the MLK game last week. Does Steven Adams have a spot as one of these intercontinental title holders, or does he fit a different style?
He's more like a U.S. title holder to me. Okay. Maybe the co-holder of a tag team title, just not big enough name. I think Devin Booker, especially after you brought it up last week, heelish antics.
Oh, he's the heel, man. He leans into
very heelish antics.
And by the way,
I think that's it.
It could also be my worst thing that the Suns are unstoppable. The Suns are just saying, we don't care who's playing center. Bismack Biyombo, go beat Rudy Gobert. We have it. Like
one more question from Anthony. Keith, let's go to you first on this so that Chuck and I can stumble through an answer. What's the best player you trade to get the Lakers trade package of Kendrick Nunn, Talen Horton-Tucker, and a 2027 first?
I give you Derrick Jones Jr.
Is he still in the league? Oh, he's on the Bulls, right?
Yeah.
How good is a Lakers 2027 first, by the way?
Well, it might be really good.
I assume it's going to be like top 5 protected, top 10 protected.
It's
a solid piece, but it's also a piece that's so far out that it's like,
Anthony Davis does have a history of just stopping playing for franchises that aren't doing
that's all
well.
Folks. But
here's Jeremy. So that was for Jeremy Grant, right?
So this is a controversial opinion. If I'm the Pistons, I would consider that for Jeremy Grant.
Why not? Talen Horton-Tucker's really young, right?
But maybe that pick's I don't think Talen Horton-Tucker, he might not be any good at all.
You don't think he's a thing?
So I think that haircut shows you that he just doesn't make good decisions. Like it goes too wide on the side. I don't get it.
I have no problem with the hair.
It just doesn't flatter his head shape.
I don't know what the goals are for the Pistons. They're in the situation where Jeremy Grant, he's under contract for another year after this year. And then what happens? He wants to be paid. He wants basically a max extension. He wants to be one of your top players. If I'm the Pistons, and I would be in the getting rid of Jeremy Grant business, and it basically would be who is going to pay me the most for him. Because I don't think as an NBA franchise, I want to probably be paying Jeremy Grant $30 million a year and also have him with the large offensive role that he specifically wants. So I don't feel like this is that insulting of an offer. If that 2027 pick, I don't know, you get is it top 5 protected? I might do it. Beyond a Jeremy Grant, I'm hard pressed.
Who on the Grizzlies would you trade for this package? None
players. I would
players.
I would trade. I would trade
Santi Aldama.
In the words of Lars Ulrich's father, I would delete that. I would never trade Conchar for that package.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. I feel like, with the Mavericks,
17 rebounds.
Like Chuck, you would trade. Would you? Are you at the point where you would trade Duncan Robinson to get a 2027? You don't have any picks.
You're so here's not even playing.
Yeah, so I see that pick, and I think Jeremy Grant for the Heat and a lineup with Lowry, Jimmy.
That's not the question.
I would give right now. Yeah, I would give Duncan.
Well, it
Robinson.
Could be the question. It could be the question, John. If it's a three-way deal,
okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think Max Strus gives you the shooting, Duncan does, and then Jeremy Grant gives you so much versatility and switching. Like you could do so much on the wings.
Somebody had to say switching. Somebody had to.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But I think the defense with Jeremy Grant, with Bam and Jimmy and Lowry and PJ Tucker, like that's a deathly defense.
What if it ruins the PJ Tucker shooting chemistry? What if it upsets the delicate balance of his shots going in?
He's really shooting the lights out. I don't know. I think what would happen is you would have to bring PJ off the bench, and I don't know if that would work.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I feel like he's used to it.
Yeah, maybe.
Would the Mavs unload one of their is Tim Hardaway Jr. Too important to them? I mean, the Blazers would trade some of their players, right?
Keith taught me into this. Now I think this trade package is awesome.
Would you? Well, so the problem with Taylor Horton Tucker is I believe he has a player option.
He does
in 2 years. So if he's good, he's going to leave. Mm-hmm. So you're not even, it's not even a good situation for you acquiring.
You kind of have to pretend he's not in the deal and just be like, do you want this first?
Yeah. It's just basically, what would you trade on your team? Do you have anything sitting around on your team that you would trade away for a first round pick and competent, possibly players?
Santi Aldama. No, I can't do it. He's too funny. He's too funny.
He is pretty funny. Shout out Santi shooting 4% from 3. That's hard to do.
Philly in the wall.
Hard to get that low. 4% in non-garbage time. It's a good question, but I mean, that is what the Lakers are dealing with. I don't know who they've targeted. Would the Jazz trade away who? The Jazz are trying to get better.
I get maybe
can't
the
unload.
Hawks. Maybe the Hawks could give.
They have a Danilo Gallinari. Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, they would.
That'd be addition by subtraction. Yes. Yeah, I think so.
I don't know who else the Hawks would be in the process of trying to move. Yeah, that package isn't specifically good. It's basically, I guess you could say any team, who's your best player that you would trade a first round pick for. And I guess all fans would come up with probably something
that
they can move. If you're the Pelicans, would you move Josh Hart for one first round pick?
Gosh, Josh Hart's been so awesome though. But I guess that's what you're doing.
Where's he going to be in a couple years?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a fair question. Maybe we'll find an answer soon if someone takes this package, or if just the Lakers, who are getting Anthony Davis back, we believe.
I feel like Josh Hart right now gets you more than this, especially since the Lakers already had him once. They should tax him. Should tax them.
Man, that's a great point.
That's 2 picks. They need 2 picks.
Anyway, those were a couple of listener submitted questions. The croissant questionnaire. If you have your own question that you want to be answered on air, you have to become a Patreon supporter. You do that at patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast. You can also get involved with our Pickle Pick'em, where we give a monthly prize each month for the best and worst person at picking the games against the spread Monday through Thursday. January's wrapping up, so it's a good time to get in. So you'll be in there for the start of the new pickle when it starts in February. Also, we'll have a listener Zoom hangout this weekend, I think, for our January. We did our December one early January, so we already owe you another one for the month of January. That'll be coming up later this weekend. If you want to get involved, you want to hang out, you want to do all the stuff with our listeners who go the extra mile to support the program, do that all at patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast. All right. It's now time for the awards segment of the program, the International Stackhouse of Pancakes Award, given each week to the worst performance in a box score. We have several honorable mentions. Marcus Morris, 0 for 9. Jordan Clarkson, 2 for 13. Scotty Barnes and Kelly Oubre, 3 for 14. Luka Doncic, 4 for 17. Steph Curry, 5 for 20. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 5 for 21. Steph Curry again, 6 for 21. Those were just honorable mentions.
Wow.
We have 4 nominees as they occurred chronologically throughout the week. Fred VanVleet, in a loss, was 4 for 20, 18 points and 12 assists, 2 rebounds, 3 turnovers, no personal fouls. Maybe try. Now, it's hard not to go for a 4 for 20, but these other
we
three
know
guys,
who's winning. We know
these other 3 guys had some miserable performances. Terry Rozier in a loss to the Hawks, 2 for 14, 7 points, 7 assists, 5 rebounds, 3 steals, 1 turnover, 2 personal fouls. Devin Booker in a win over the Pacers, 5 for 23, 11 points, 23 field goal attempts at 11 points.
That's like no field goals.
That's shocking.
Whoa.
Or no free throws, excuse me.
Yeah.
No
11 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks, which is pretty nice. 3 turnovers, 4 personal fouls.
You've gone and saved the best for last.
And then Spencer Dinwiddie
There we go.
in a loss where Jason Tatum put up 51 points. Spencer Dinwiddie had merely 4 on 1 for 12 field goal attempts. 1 for 12, 4 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks, 2 personal fouls. So
did we not have an O for this week? I thought we had an O for 11.
Well, Marcus Morris still 0 for 9. I don't believe I missed. There's always a chance I missed one, but these are the 4 I have. Fred VanVleet, 4 for 20, but 18 points, 12 assists. Terry Rozier, 2 for 14, 7.7 assists. Devin Booker, 5 for 23, 11 points, 7 rebounds. Spencer Dinwiddie, 1 for 12, 4 points. I know Chuck leans 4 for 20.
I have to.
For me,
I'm going
it's a debate between Dinwiddie and Devin Booker. 1 for 12, 4 points, or 5 for 23, 11 points.
Oh, those are gross.
They're so bad. They're worse. I mean, VanVleet, 18 points, 12 assists. I can get over it.
I'll vote Dinwiddie.
I guess to avoid the 3-way tie, we have no system for breaking a 3-way tie. I'll go with Dinwiddie as well.
Least fouls maybe should break a tie. Maybe.
All right.
Least
Dinwiddie
fouls
with 2 personal fouls. I mean, Booker and Dinwiddie both got Booker got 4 stocks and Dinwiddie got 3. So yeah, I'll go Spencer Dinwiddie. Congratulations on winning this week's International Stackhouse of Pancakes Award. It is now time for everyone's least favorite game show, the Lethal Lottery, where Chuck, John, and I have a season-long competition to try to pick the worst player from the nationally televised TNT games on Thursday night. Last week, we had some drama. TNT knows it. I drafted Jay Crowder. Chuck took Luka Doncic.
Yes,
Luka.
Correct.
With the Stern ball, because he was going to, and he swapped out Luka Doncic with John, trying to stick John with the loss, and brought back to his own team.
Oh,
Tim Hardaway Jr.
Yeah,
Tim Hardaway Jr.
Thank you, Chuck. Good call.
Now, it almost worked out where Chuck picked up a double loss because Doncic had 8 turnovers and stunk. However, my pick of Jay Crowder was the worst one.
Yeah.
In the fact that he had the best game.
Yeah.
I hope that's confusing for you. Since Jay Crowder had the best game, I get the negative Lethal Lottery point. I am leading the Lethal Lottery standings, which is a bad thing. I'm losing on the season. Thus, I will be the first to draw from the Jack-o'-lantern this week. If I get a silver ball, I just pick a player who I think is going to have the worst game. If I get a Stern ball, there's some strategy because I can then use the powers of veto of David Stern to swap out my player with whoever John and Chuck picks. What are the games? John, you ever Thursday games?
Lakers at Sixers or Timberwolves at Warriors?
Lakers, Sixers. Oh, they let the Timberwolves be on national television. Good for them.
Took away a nationally televised game from the Grizzlies recently. What that?
More do the Grizzlies have to do?
What is that?
John Moran is the most exciting young player. The Grizzlies have a better record than the Heat, and you take them off national TV for the Knicks?
Who have they played, though?
What are we even doing here?
Who have they played, Chuck? Truly.
What do we learn here?
All right.
What game?
We're drawing. We're drawing. You know what?
Raise that lantern. Raise that lantern.
I think I'm going to go with Timberwolves Warriors.
Timberwolves Warriors. Silver ball.
A silver ball. Just you know what? Give me Klay Thompson.
Woo!
Give me Klay Thompson.
I like it.
He's Avery Bradley.
I like it.
He stinks. Give me Klay Thompson.
Whose turn is it now? I guess it's Chuck's turn.
Yeah, Chuck. Since he did not. Oh, he's got the stern ball. Chuck's got the stern ball. What are you doing there? What's your strategy? I mean, give
me Karl Anthony Towns.
Cat is basically the safest. He does not have negative games usually. All right, so now it's just going to be who does Chuck probably want to stick with the loss?
Yeah.
Although Klay could always score 61, Chuck. You never know. He's done it before. All right, John, who are you taking, man?
Okay, I'm going to try to confuse Chuck. Jared Vanderbilt.
Oh, I love Jared Vanderbilt.
Shut your mouth.
I was just thinking the other day, he might be one of my 5 favorite non-Grizzlies.
He's so awesome.
He's so awesome.
But can we talk about this after Chuck switches, please?
Yeah, let's talk about when Chuck switches. So what do you, Chuck? I mean, you're not sticking with Karl Anthony Towns.
This is rough.
John only has 5 negative lottery points. I believe you have 6 and I have 9. Is that right? The standings are very badly against my favor.
Chuck's winning.
You could continue pushing me further down the hole, or you could try to level it out and get a little space between you and John.
I'm gonna go with Jared Vanderbilt's not gonna have a better game of Karl Anthony Towns, but Klay Thompson might. Who knows? He might go off. So he might go off.
I love it. John, that didn't work out for you. I think Chuck made the wrong choice, but once these things are written in stone, there's nothing the commissioner can even do.
Chuck keeps sterning me.
He keeps sterning
you. This is 2 weeks in a row.
So far, you've avoided it.
Last week he did it because he didn't have to face me. This week he looked me in the eye. Stuck me with the big cat.
You're going to come out unscathed, I believe. Anyway, par fadeaway, gentlemen. What things are we looking forward to in the coming week? What do you got your eye on?
So for me, I was really looking forward to seeing the Grizzlies on national TV, but I'm no longer getting to do that. So I guess I'm just going to keep staring at the transcendent play of Joel Embiid, who's blowing my mind night after night. Type of play I haven't seen from a center since Shaq. Like, just
you mean since Jokic?
No, different type of play. Like I'm not seeing a guy like Jokic doesn't just go. I don't know if you've seen what Embiid is doing down low, but very violent dunks from a very large man. It's just like anytime I get a chance to see some Shaq Diesel style play, I'm gonna take it because who knows how long he can keep it up.
The offensive tear he's on, man. Oh, what's your question, Chuck?
I feel like, and it's just me with Embiid. It like historically, the bottom falls out.
Yeah, runs out of gas.
Like I don't know if it's like
being asked to do a lot.
He's doing more than he's ever done.
Yeah,
and I'm just afraid that it's gonna end poorly.
You don't think running him out there with George Niang every night and Furkan Korkmaz is not the right way to do it?
I really wanted to take Furkan Korkmaz
in the Lethal Lotto. Taking a giant 0 by having Ben Simmons on your roster the whole year to waste
$0
a season of Embiid's prime in the paint. He's essentially Shaq, but he also can hit and make an 18-footer anytime he wants. He's like
can shoot a 3.
Yeah, he's just like beating guys off the dribble. He's like, I can get a pretty easy 14-footer whenever I want.
Point Embiid is a thing.
And every single night, they're like, you know what? I hope Danny Green and Matisse Thybulle are healthy enough to play this night.
Poor guy.
I mean, it's a transcendent performance. He's going to stuff the Lakers in a locker. It's going to be insane.
I'm looking forward to reading an article in The Guardian. It's titled, "The Dallas Mavericks are consistently white in a black league. Why?"
Isn't this
This was made for our podcast.
My God.
Shout out
into the Game
Lee
of Scones.
Escobedo, who wrote this article. I haven't had a chance, but it is in my bookmarks, and I'm going to dive into this wonderfully. I do remember when Porzingis was traded to the Dallas Mavericks, us yelling at the top of our lungs, white people party, white people party, white people party.
What else could you say? We didn't know what to say. They were collecting all the whites, and we didn't know what to do about it.
We didn't know what to do.
They are the white supremacist organization known as the Dallas Mavericks. We've established.
So I look forward to getting into the details of it, and I'll give a full report next episode.
I'm looking forward to, and I guess we have to look forward to Thursday night. The All-Star starters are announced. Is it our Ja Morant's time?
It is.
Very, 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 very exciting. I'm also looking forward to Jalen Suggs and the Orlando Magic. Maybe don't be so good. You're killing my negative fantasy team. Jalen Suggs he's returned after a little bit of time off, and he's been like not terrible.
And surviving some pretty hard fouls.
Yeah. And also dunking all over people. And then you had, by the way,
Wendell Carter destroyed his trade swapsman. He destroyed
Wendell Carter Jr. Against the Bulls this season. It's now 3 games. He's averaging 22 points per game, 9 rebounds per game, 2.3 assists, and 1.6 blocks. He did at least finally pick up a win. Now just 1-2 against the Bulls. But yeah, I guess I'm looking forward to all that stuff. Also, these mediocre play-in battles I feel like it's heating up. I feel like we're at the doldrums, but we're also at the point where, like, I don't know, there's games every night that have like serious consequences, it feels like, and the teams are aware of it. And so it's just a good time to be watching basketball. If you want to get game day deals to Memphis Grizzlies games, if you're in the Memphis area, sign up for Buzzer Beaters. Text Buzzer Beater to 833-550-0028 to opt in for discounts to your next home game. Get tickets, get hyped, and save with Buzzer Beaters. Visit grizzlies.com/buzzerbeater for more info. If you also need more Grizzly stuff, subscribe to Grits and Grinds, a podcast by me, where we just talk about D'Anthony Melton deflections for 30 minutes every other day. It's incredible. Anyway, that's the full show. If you want to follow Chuck on Twitter, the mighty Chuck, John is Master John Burr. You can follow the show at Fast Break Break. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. You guys are the best. Thanks for listening. And remember, breakfast is the most important thing.
88 ounces of tea was a mistake. Oh,
later, boys.
See you guys.